Okay, as we have a Raven you want to get to.
Yeah, and so the Raven today, basically just this is a follow-up to our Sir Alliser Thorne conversation. Sir Jack sent this in. This was in our Bend the Knee group, and it was in reference to our pink letter, okay? Pink letter conversation where in that we were kind of making the connection that maybe Sir Alliser Thorne is somehow involved in the writing of the pink letter, helping Roose Bolton communicate with Clytus up at Castle Black. So that was just the previous episode. We were talking about that. And Sir Jack wrote in here and he said, plot twist. Sir Alliser Thorne eventually finds out that Jon Snow is a Targaryen and becomes one of his greatest allies. And that right out the gate, like that's something that I've always thought is really cool. And I would love to see something like that happen. It would almost be this bittersweet if it were that he found out and then it was too late because he had already done something that was, he had gone too far. But let me continue on here. Sir Jack says, as Sir Matt and Ser Ezra mentioned when talking about the pink letter, he was only one of 2 Targaryen loyalists to take the black instead of bending the knee and taking Robert's pardon. Even if he was a part of the pink letter, I think this information would rally him to Jon's side. Assuming Roose Bolton has something treacherous up his sleeve, Alliser Thorne could be the one to foil his plans. Is there any chance that Maester Aemon's Targaryen lineage is the reason that Thorne gives so much credence to the counsel of a 100-year-old graybeard that many other lords would have just brushed aside? It seems apparent to me that had Sir Alliser Thorne known Jon's identity from the start, then they would have had a much, much different relationship. But what do I know? He says, edit, this is assuming Jon is actually a Targaryen. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Cheers, everyone. Enjoy your Sunday. So it was just this past weekend. Thanks again to him. I appreciate the follow-up on that. And what do you think, Sir Matt? I mean, a different take on Sir Alliser.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with him because in the show, he is part of the mutiny and Jon executes him once he's resurrected, and that's kind of it. The books, he's gone, right? He's off on arranging. So I would say worst, sort of laziest case scenario, if you want the easiest way to get rid of him and something that would be kind of interesting, is he shows up at some sort of a battle against White Walkers and others, and you just, let's say a resurrected Jon, you still go down the same sort of route, and Jon kills him in the Battle of Winterfell against the White Walkers, right? That would be one way to kind of show him. So, he just died, was killed by a White Walker, and then you get to kill him as a White Walker, and it's kind of a cool, just little ending. So I would say that's like worst case, lowest,
easy
case
effort
scenario.
Yeah.
The easiest, like, hey, I just need to get rid of characters. Okay, I could have this happen. I think that's unlikely to happen. I think he's going to come back. The question will become, you and I talked about the idea of he was part of it on the pink letter, trying to get rid of Jon. But we have before talked about the idea of it would be cool if he were to find out that Jon is a Targaryen. So it all kind of depends on when he shows back up on the stage. Is he going to show back up? If for that to happen, I feel like he would have to come back much later because Jon's likely to get resurrected by the middle of this book, by middle of Winds of Winter, and then Jon in the show doesn't find out he's a Targaryen until season 8, right? He himself does not know he's a Targaryen. Other people have figured it out. So when will Jon figure that out, and what implications will that be? Now, if you remember in season 8, the Night's Watch comes down. I think it's end of season 8, episode 1, or I think they maybe arrived episode 2. There's like 5 guys left. Remember, right? They go, and then you've got the the weird circle that the White Walkers were doing, and they killed that boy, and it was weird. And so that's, if you go down maybe something like that, then he does end up taking over the Night's Watch, and then he brings the remaining men down, and then hears that Jon is a Targaryen and fights alongside with him. So I'm certainly for it. I would love the idea of Alliser Thorne being it. The only way you could go down this is to make it sort of happen sooner would be he has been a Targaryen like insider, right? We talked about the idea of Mance is Rhaegar and all of this stuff, and Alliser Thorne somehow has known the whole time that Jon is a Targaryen and was specifically hard on him, but never was really willing to have him killed, right? Just he felt like he needed to be hardened along the way. And then maybe he comes back and is like, you killed Jon Snow, and is like outraged by it because he knew all along, but he was just doing it because he felt like Jon needed that to push himself, right?
Yeah,
because
plot twist.
So right, so those are some scenarios for Alliser Thorne.
Okay, here's something interesting. Let me tell you how big of a deal House Thorne is. Okay, so Sir Rickard Thorne was the only other reference that we have, and he was a knight from House Thorne, and he was a member of the Kingsguard during the reign of King Viserys I. And we were just talking about, as we lead into Dance of the Dragons, Viserys I. He's one of the Kingsguard. Okay, and so you have somebody in Sir Alliser's like lineage, his house, whatever, that was really close to the Targaryens. Sir Rickard actually gives up his life for one of the Targaryen children, is killed in Old Town in some mob kind of riot situation. So it just made me kind of think like, you have one example of a Thorne, Rickard Thorne, defending Prince, I think it was Maelor Targaryen, in Old Town as the people they wanted to get a hold of him, and they ended up killing this child, and he did everything he could against the mob, and he's hacking, killing people, whatever, defending this Targaryen, Alliser. What if he's in that situation? Talk about a major kind of crazy thing where he's defending one of the last Targaryens, like legitimately. That would be wild. I don't know how we get there. I think people would say, "Oh, that's super counter to what we have seen." One of the small maybe nods, and it's meant to be an insult, is he calls him Lord Snow, right?
Yes.
Eventually shifts to bastard a little bit, right? But he calls him a lord. He actually is acknowledging him as his lord, right? Lord Snow. And so that's kind of fitting, right? That he would make that acknowledgement, even though he's doing it out of mockery. It's you could, well, is he being respectful there, or is he mocking me? Well, he's mocking you, but if you're trying to lay some real subtle kind of thread down that he might shift back. Remember too, George writes this character in the very beginning. Years ago, he wrote Sir Alliser Thorne. So he obviously is a big deal. His last name is Thorne, like a thorn in your side. And that's what he is for Jon. Now, could it turn out that I like this idea that they could turn out to be someone who is going to help Jon. And I like what you said, which is coming back to Castle Black and saying, you guys did what? This is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And he does know. I don't know that he does that he knows. I haven't gotten enough hinting that would suggest that he does know. I think that would be cool if there was some flashback or something. That would be wild. And here's you. Okay, you ready for a major tie-in here? Are you ready to go down a freaking rabbit hole? Oh my gosh! So remember how we used to talk about like what happened at the sack of King's Landing? What happened there? Sir Alliser is there. Like he's given the opportunity to, it's death or take the black, right? He takes the black. I'm not sure if he was pardoned or offered a pardon. I know that's what Sir Jack said, but I can't remember which way it was. Either way, he was there. Does he somehow, get the option to take the black because he gave information to Eddard Stark as to where the Tower of Joy is? Did he tell Robert something? You know what I mean? Who told Eddard Stark where to go? Who was the member that was close, a Targaryen loyalist, that would have that information? The battle is lost. King, it's over. The Mad King is dead. Jaime Lannister has slain him. Rhaegar is dead. As far as Sir Alliser knows, it's over. It's done. Well, I can spare my life. Maybe I can give these guys some information. Here's what I know, and go check it out. Would that not be ironic if Sir Alliser was one of the guys who told them information about Lyanna and Rhaegar and was maybe even that close? You know, that would be, he's 50 years old, and so he could have been one of those guys who was hanging around Rhaegar. And, you know, I mean, I think it would be very fascinating to think about that. Yeah.
I don't know that he would give up information, though, because Alliser Thorne, and, you know, one of the reasons he's probably a Targaryen loyalist, I don't know that it's necessarily that he's like rah Targaryen. You know, when Jaina Slint has his major mess up, and I love the way the show does it. I mean, Alliser Thorne looks at him like, you just went against the watch. What you did there was like, it almost, to me, it always felt like in that moment, Alliser Thorne is like, you messed up, you know. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, so he is kind of he's almost got a little bit of that like Stannis quality in him. It's like, this is, you know, this is like the way, in that it's like, I'm going to follow the law to the, you know, to the letter. I mean, he can still be a jerk to Jon. That doesn't mean that he's, you know, you know, just because he's a jerk to Jon doesn't mean he's disobeying rules or certainly anything. So yeah, I don't know that he'd give up information, but then again, who knows? Once Robert becomes king, well, maybe it's different. He views it as, well, okay, here we go. This is the new person in charge.
Yeah, I think the thing is, when you could look at it two ways, right? So, did he say that what Slint was doing was dishonorable, that it was something that was counter to the Night's Watch, or did he just realize, if I back this guy, I'm dead? You know, like,
I mean, it could certainly be that as well.
I like what you say, though. I think more so he is a knight, and he does have some honor. He does have some whatever. He's a harsh guy. He's cold. He's whatever. He's ruthless. But at the end of the day, he was knighted. I think it's just he lost. His side lost. He's up here, you know, serving out, living the rest of his life here, and he's just kind of bitter. So, and maybe he has some resentment. I think the resentment for Jon is because he is a Stark, air quote, a Stark, right?
Yes.
I mean, he is, and I think maybe he doesn't like the fact that he's beat, that he's up here protecting the North, essentially. It just doesn't, none of it kind of sits well with him, and so that's why he's willing to kind of, I don't know, side up with Slint, and also, too, he knows how much favor Jon has among, you know, the Night's Watch during, that was a Storm of Swords.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah, I think he would, though. I think he could have. I'm just saying it's an option. I get that he has that honor. He's got that loyalty. If you're that loyal, why would you give up some big secret?
Right.
But
yeah, that's why I think when he comes back, I don't think he will be happy that they committed mutiny. I don't think that book, Alliser Thorne, I know in the show he says like, I would do it again. And granted, I mean, you know, if you're from Alliser Thorne's perspective, let's just view him as he is what he is. When Jon comes in, Jon is kind of arrogant. Jon protects Sam, which is kind of going against what Alliser Thorne's role is, to be jerks to these people, regardless of who comes. I don't think Alliser Thorne was ever going to kill Sam. I think anybody up there realizes it's kind of like, it's like drill sergeants, right? Drill sergeants are jerks because that's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to turn, literally anyone into a weapon, basically, right? Like I need you to be trained so that in the event we're beyond the wall, I know I can rely on you. And Jon, does kind of come in. I mean, he has that conversation with Donald Noy and stuff like that. And a lot of the other guys aren't happy with him because he does come in and he's, I'm better. He does have a little bit of that. I'm better than you. I'm kind of above this. Like, and I mean, even Jorah Mormont, everyone thinks Jon should be a ranger. No, you're going to be a steward because you need to, you need to, you need to learn. So, yeah. But I don't know that Alliser Thorne would have even participated in the mutiny.
No, I know. And that goes back to sort of the whole pink letter situation. Is he a guy who would, when he is sent away by Jon and he says, I'll come back one way or the other, is he actually doing what he's supposed to do? Or did he go to Winterfell and is he the hooded figure who is working with Roose Bolton? That was our kind of, pink letter pitch. And that's, again, someone's theory. I was trying to figure out when it was presented to me that Alliser could have written that letter. I mean, I can see why people would say that, right? Because the idea is that he's upset with Jon, and also maybe George writes it in such a way that it's so we look towards him and really it's like Clytus and the stewards were just sort of like, no, there's this really undercurrent or undertone going on among the stewards where they're just super pissed and upset with Jon. I don't know. Where is Ser Alliser? Where is he at? Is he actually north of the wall? Is he in Winterfell? What's he doing? When's he coming back? Is he going to come back dead? The whole thing. I think
the other.
Yeah, the other. I think it's
one way or the other, not one way or another. One way or the other, which is just totally playing with this. So, guys, let us.